Welcome back to Franchise Nation Radio here in the Yankees franchise, and we are just about ready to get things started off here in the 2016 season. And beforehand, we are going to talk about the pitching rotation, the bullpen, the lineups versus right-handers and left-handers, who's on the bench, while going over some of the new names to get everyone caught up on who are the new guys on the team and what you can expect to see from these guys based on their attributes. So first things first, we'll start things off with the arms. The pitching rotation, 1 through 5 goes Masahiro Tanaka at the top, followed by Michael Pineda, Big Mike, Nathan Eovaldi, the Texas kid, followed by Tyler Olson, the newly acquired, and the number 5 will be Luis Severino, who will eventually climb his way up that rotation spot. Tanaka is Tanaka. He's their ace. He's the best overall player on the team. There's nothing really more to say about it. Michael Pineda, he's interesting because you want him to see him do well. He's Big Mike. You want to see him do well, but the Yankees have expressed interest in trying to possibly trade him if he can't turn things around. Now, hopefully for the guy, he can turn things around, but if he isn't, he's Gonzo Alonso. Number 3 guy, Nathan Eovaldi. He pitched well last year. He gave a lot of hits, but he needs to cut down on those, but he still pitched well. He had one of the top 2 ERAs in the starting rotation last year, and if Pineda really struggles, really the number 2 guy in the rotation could either be him, it could be the next guy, Tyler Olson, or it could be Severino. And speaking of the next guy, Tyler Olson, he is a guy that not many people are familiar with because he spent last season with the Seattle Mariners. And he is a left-handed starter. He is the only left-hander in the Yankees rotation, and he won the AL Rookie of the Year award last year in 2015 for the Mariners, and for whatever reason, they just decided not to pick him up again. And now, the thing with Tyler Olson, he's not an overpowering guy. He has control, and he has great breaking pitches. He only throws about a 90-ish fastball. Maybe it'll hit 91, but it usually sticks around a 90, maybe an 89, and he has a 92 break rating. So his breaking balls, his changeup, those are the balls you really got to watch out for. They will drop from 12 to 6 just like that. And the number 5 guy in the rotation, you saw a bit at the end of last year, Luis Severino. Dominated all AA, dominated all AAA, came up at the end of last season at September call-ups. The right-hander, A potential, boosted himself from a B to an A last year. He's now a 74 overall, 83 velocity. His fastball goes anywhere from about like 94 to a 97, maxing out at 97, but he usually keeps it around 95. As far as the bullpen goes, it's pretty much all guys just returning from last season. Adam Warren is the long reliever as a right-hander. We have 4 middle relievers, and 3 of them being left-handers. The only right-handed middle reliever is David Carpenter, who was great last year. Nobody on the Yankees pitched more than David Carpenter. And the 3 left-handers are 2 guys returning from the Major League team last year, in Justin Wilson, the left-hander, and then Chasen Shreve, the second left-hander. He'll be returning as well. And Jacob Lindgren, a guy who spent all of last year in AAA as the closer, and he pretty much dominated. He's prepared to be on the opening day roster this year, so expect Jacob Lindgren to see a lot of him this season, and expect him to be used against right-handers. He is not just a lefty specialist. Expect him to be used against both sides, both hitters, righties, and lefties. In the setup role, back once again from last season, Andrew Miller. The 8th and 9th are just locked down for the Yankees as usual, like it was last season. Andrew Miller, left-hander in that 8th inning role. That is his inning. Doesn't matter if you're facing right-handers, doesn't matter if you're facing left-handers. Andrew Miller is the 8th inning guy. And then the closer, Dellin Betances, right-hander, led the American League in saves last year, won the AL Reliever of the Year award, and he's back to close games out once again here in 2016. Now, as far as the starting lineups go, the batting order against right-handed pitchers, it doesn't really change much, but it does change a bit. So first is right-handers. Center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury leads things off, followed by left fielder Brett Gardner. You got the 2 speed on the top of the lineup. That returns from last season. 3-4 hitters also returns from last season. A-Rod in the 3-hole at DH. McCann cleaning up at catcher. And then this is where things change a bit. The 5th hole against right-handers is Greg Bird. He's a left-handed bat, so obviously it makes sense to put him higher in the order as a power bat against right-handers. So he's the first baseman, hitting 5th against righties. And then hitting 6th against righties as a right-handed bat in right field is Aaron Judge, all 6'7" of him. Then hitting 7th against right-handers is the second baseman, Robert Refsnyder. Hitting 8th against right-handers is the switch-hitting Chase Headley. And then in the 9 hole is the shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Sir Didi back for yet another season in pinstripes. And then you flip things over to the left-handed side. Not many things change, but there are things that change. The top 4 guys, that remains the same. Ellsbury and Gardner with that speed at the top of the lineup, stealing bases, getting on base, singles, doubles, triples, all that good stuff. 3-4 hitter, A-Rod and DH, McCann cleaning things up at the catching position. But this is where things get flipped around. Instead of Greg Bird hitting in the 5th hole against lefties, it's a left-handed batter. Him and Judge are flipped. So the Judge is a right-handed batter. He's hitting 5th against left-handers, hitting 6th against right-handers, and then Bird hitting 5th against right-handers as a lefty, and then hitting 6th against left-handers as a left-handed bat. And then you follow things up with Robert Refsnyder. He remains in that 7th hole, starting second baseman. Chase Headley stays in the 8th hole as for right now. And then the shortstop mixed things up. A platoon left-handed batter, switch hitter against left-handed pitchers is Ronnie Torreyes. He is a utility guy, can play second, short, third, and center, but against left-handers, opening day roster, he is the starting shortstop. Girardi has come out and said that. And Ronnie Torreyes is a guy who has good contact versus both. He's got good vision, got good discipline, and he's got great speed. Not great speed, but he's got good speed. 77 speed, 73 stealing, 68 contact versus righties, 75 versus lefties. And he's got good vision, so he's able to get the bat on ball. And his defense is a little sketchy at the shortstop position, a lot worse than Didi's, but Torreyes is the better bat against lefties, since Didi has a very hard time hitting left-handed pitching. And then on the bench, it goes, the 4 people on the bench is the catcher, who is going to be the main pinch hitter this year, I feel, is Brian Pena. The catcher, switch-hitting catcher, with his dual-flap helmet. He has a 91 vision rating, so he's able to get bat on ball quite efficiently, and he is definitely going to be a guy you can see getting some spot starts at first and catcher, and also pinch hitting quite often. Then there's also Jose Perella. He returns from last season. He tore it up at the end of last year. In August last year, he had a spree where he was just hitting home run after home run after home run, and he was just raking. But he did cool down to end the season, and he's back as the utility man on the bench, a right-handed bat. And then Dian Viciedo, another right-handed bat. Crazy Eights, he is right now the 4th outfielder, despite only being able to play right and left. But Torreyes, when he is on the bench, he can play center, and they will have no problem putting him in center field. Well, also Perella can play the outfield as well, so they will have no problem putting him in the outfield either. And then, of course, whoever is starting at shortstop is the guy in the starting lineup, and whoever's benched is the guy on the bench. So against right-handers, Didi starts, Torreyes on the bench. Against left-handers, Torreyes starts, Didi on the bench. And we're not going to go too far into the minor leagues and who to expect to be called up here in this preseason heading into the opening day of 2016, but we are going to talk about 2 guys, 2 rookies in their first professional seasons. The first guy was actually drafted by the Yankees, and that's Dino Cruz, the SoCal kid. 74 overall already, see potential. He has the ability to take that up a bit, though. He's only 18 years old, and he's currently in Double-A Trenton down on the Jersey Shore. Not Jersey Shore, really, because it's western New Jersey, but 70 power versus right-handers and lefters, 70 plus. 60 fielding across the board, meaning he's got 60 fielding, 60 plus reaction, 60 plus arm strength and accuracy, and he's got 62 speed, so he's an all-around player. He's got some pop in his bat, and he can play the entire infield. So at any point this season, you can definitely expect to see Dino Cruz up in the big leagues. They don't want to call him up to start the season off because they don't know how people are going to perform, but if someone struggles, Dino Cruz will be called up eventually. And the other guy you can definitely expect to be seeing at some point in this season, first hitter, the first pure hitter to struggle, Tom Ullman will be replacing. Tom Ullman is a guy the Yankees did not draft. Whoever drafted this guy didn't want to re-sign him. They didn't want to sign him, so they let him walk into free agency, and the Yankees pounced on him. He's currently sitting at 19 years old, 74 overall, B potential, and he's in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, the AAA affiliate of the Yankees, and he's going to rake down there for a few months, maybe a month, and maybe eventually you'll see him up in the major leagues. He currently has 64 contact versus righties, 68 versus lefties, 55 power versus righties, and then 73 versus lefties. 67 vision, 69 discipline, and 93 durability, so he's not going to get injured on you either, and he can make solid contact, he can rake. So Tom Ullman has definitely got to keep your eye on, and he's most likely going to be in the bigs at 19 years old, while Dino Cruz most likely going to be in the bigs at 18 years old. And with that being said, to wrap things up here for this pre-opening day roster video, going over the starting rotation, going over the bullpen, the batting order versus right-handers and left-handers, who is on the bench, while also getting you familiarized with the new guys on the team, including Tyler Olson, Jacob Lindgren, as well as Ronnie Torreyes, Brian Pena, Jose Pirela still on the bench. So you've been listening to Franchise Nation Radio, and I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying goodbye.
There's a pop idol at the top of the charts, and when her record's being cut, she's on the beach in St. Bart's, while a session singer who didn't have the face to make it signs a non-disclosure agreement and belts out her parts. It's hard, cause I got bars that are big up in Woody Allen, but maybe he's a predator who's digging in his talents. There's a balance, and often I don't know how to feel. In a fake and painted world, seek the real.